Hello, I'm Gail Grant, President of Virginia Governmental Employees Association, and I welcome you to our annual meeting. Again, this year we have our favorites with us and two women who bring great information that we really need. And we have Patricia Bishop with VRS and Emily Elliott with DHRM, the Department of Human Resource Management. We're delighted to be with you. There's so much going on and there's a lot to talk about, and I know they have very informative presentations for you. I just have some housekeeping things I would like to discuss, particularly, first and foremost, congratulations to all of you who will be leaving the workforce probably by the end of the year. I am actually your outgoing president. We will have, by the end of the year, we will have new officers and board members, and we will be coming to you, I'll be coming to you in that capacity as immediate past president. But for those of you who are leaving us, we know you're leaving the workforce, full-time probably, but please don't leave VGEA. For $48, you can continue your membership, and we definitely want you to do that. We have had great gains. As you know, this year we could celebrate the 5% increase, especially after the little letdown we had in 2020 when we were not able to get the 3% bonus and the 3% raise. But what a surprise and joy when we got the 5% this year, and I hope you all are grateful and thankful for that. So there's a lot of work to still be done, but it is really nice that we do now have legislators and leaders who recognize the need to compensate and make adjustments in salaries for state workers here in Virginia. So please don't forget VGEA. We will continue to work on behalf of retirees. It's a bit more challenging, but we do have the ear of legislators and they do understand. So we do ask that you please stay with us and continue to be with VGEA. Also, in relationship to your membership, I really would like to encourage you all to please talk to your coworkers about VGEA. You are VGEA on the ground, really. You are everywhere across the state and state workforce, and please help us recruit new members, and also to encourage all of you or those who might have considered it to please consider nominating yourself or being nominated or being open to being nominated for the board of directors. That will be coming up soon. So please consider those two things. And as a final housekeeping issue, we get calls from members from time to time, usually more often than we would like, saying that they're not getting their VGEA communications. Well, what happens is in our system, Constant Contact, if you do not open your communications from us, after about 6 communications or about 3 months or so, they drop you from the list. You become inactive. We don't know that you're inactive until you tell us, because we have a considerable database and we don't go looking for inactives. So it is very important to open your messages from VGEA. I also encourage you all to please give us a personal email address. Many of you register and use your work address. So if you would also, when we usually in our communications, we ask you to keep us abreast of changes, but please go ahead and submit your personal email address also. That would be very helpful because that could keep you informed. Also, in all our communications now, we talk to you about notifying us when you move, when you change jobs, but you stay with the state and you go to a new agency. Your membership deductions, and most of our members are payroll deduction, does not follow you to that new agency. You have to let them know that you are a member of VGEA and make sure that your payroll deduction continues. Also, if you're retiring, please let us know. not only do we want to congratulate you, but we also want to know your home address if we do not have that on file. Many people only gave their their state email when they joined VGEA, and it's important that we have addresses and correct addresses for you. And that's why some of our communications, your foresights were mailed, because that helped us with those we had addresses for and doing address corrections. So those are some housekeeping things that are very, very important, and we ask that you do that because we want you to stay informed. All kinds of things are happening in the workforce now, and we need you to know what's going on because we try to bring you what you need to know. Also, finally, I would like to tell you we've been promising changed our website, and that work has been done. We're delighted that we will be meeting with the company that does our website management on this Friday to actually look at the new version of the website. And once that is launched, hopefully it'll be launched within 2 weeks, we will be polling you and asking you for your feedback. We need you to, another reason why it's important to open your email, we need you to go to the website, go in, put in your membership number, test out all those things, click through the website, help us find anything that might not be appearing the way we expect it to appear. That would be a big help for us and a great way to get involved with the new website. So we look forward to that. Without further ado, we will move right into the rest of this time with you. And as you look at this, please share it with other members or your coworkers, or if you're talking to somebody about VGEA and joining VGEA, looking at this on YouTube would be a great way. Inviting them to look at this meeting on YouTube would be a great way for them to get an introduction to the great information that we bring you as members. Thank you.
Provide you today some information about our state workforce. We've got several important topics to cover, and those today will include information on workplace safety, employee compensation, benefits, employee engagement, and I'll also answer questions from our VGEA members, as well as give you information on how to stay in touch with DHRM. So let's jump right in. We're first going to look at our workforce data. So this slide shows you an employment trend for the last 3 years. And overall, our employment is down in the Commonwealth, but it's really carried by the executive branch agencies within state government. There's been a reduction of slightly over 1,700 employees since fiscal year 2020. There are about 5,600 employees, 56,000 employees that are covered by the Virginia Personnel Act, and that's down slightly, about 1,500 since last year. I will leave this here for a second because I'd like to show that we have various branches of government and we have various types of employees. And so oftentimes we get questions that might be specific to one branch of government and not another. And so it's really important just to understand we have a variety of positions in the Commonwealth. The next point I'd like to cover is turnover. We often get lots of questions about turnover in the Commonwealth, and turnover is both volunteer and involuntary. And so it's really important to distinguish between the two. And so if we're looking at that for classified employees, we saw a slight increase to 15.7%. That means just over 8,500 employees left active state service last year. That's up about 400 positions from the prior year. What you'll see in turnover is that 9.8% of turnover is from volunteer resignations, and that's a lot. 3.1% is due to retirements. And I know you've heard me talk in the past about turnover and where is it happening, and what we see, and on this next slide here is a visual of it's still happening in our 0 to 5 years of employment. And so despite our efforts to really focus in on that area, it's one that we're going to have to continue to work on. So next, let's look at workforce data and our hiring. In fiscal year 21, we hired roughly 6,000 new classified employees, and about 1,500 employees returned to the Commonwealth. If you look at those numbers, that's still a downward trend for the last 3 years, and we're seeing fewer employees return to state service. The additional information I've shared here today is the types of positions that are actually being hired, and this is where we continuously see our recruiting and retention challenges. And I will say the information here absolutely did not change since the prior year. These are the exact same jobs where we're struggling year after year to retain and recruit employees. For workforce demographics, information that I'll share, not a lot of change here. We still saw about 54% females in their workforce and classified employees and 46% male. Our minority and non-minority numbers have not fluctuated. Our veteran population did decrease by 1%, but that's because we see veterans retiring. Our median age remains at 48. In our current retirement eligibility, we have about 6,500 classified employees who are eligible to retire today, and we have about 1,200 more in the next 2 years. So not a significant amount of change with their workforce data overall. What I'll also share is that we have a lot of information out on our website. If you want something specific about an agency or want to dive into a little bit of the information that I've shared here today, all you have to do is go to our DHRM website. You'll look at quick links, you'll hit reports, and then from there you can look at all kinds of data that might be relevant to what you're interested in. Next, I'd like to share with you some information on workplace safety. So obviously this has been a big year. We have continued to deal with our pandemic and COVID-19. We know that there have been two core pieces of guiding regulations that we are following in the Commonwealth as employers. And so as I shared last year, I went quite in depth in the emergency temporary standards that had been adopted for employers for COVID. This year, just recently even, on September 8th, those regulations have been updated and really, again, with the focus on controlling, preventing, and mitigating the spread of COVID in the Commonwealth. The Virginia Safety and Health Codes Boards, they did update these standards, as I mentioned, and what's really changed is the standards used to have risk exposure levels. You may remember those from last year. There were 4 to 5 levels, and now the mitigation strategies are really focused in on protecting employees who are unvaccinated, not fully vaccinated, or have otherwise risk. And it's, again, these are complex standards. We have both federal guidance and we have state guidance and Department of Health, CDC, everybody's sharing guidance on best practices. And it's real important to understand some specifics around the types of position and industry, because there are specific regulations related to healthcare workers or congregate settings that might be very different from a low-risk office environment. So the best source of information for anything related to these standards would be within your own agency, as your agency can give you specific information about what is applicable to your unique agency and needs. We're going to continue to work with both Department of Labor and Industry and the Health Department to make sure that we communicate to agency leaders and HR directors information to keep our workplace safe. What's been of most interest to the Commonwealth workforce lately has been the Governor's Executive Directive number 18, which put in place a focus on vaccinations for Commonwealth state employees. Vaccinations are widely available. We know they are safe and effective. And there's realization, as stated in the executive directive, that unvaccinated Virginians account for nearly everyone who is now being hospitalized or dying from COVID. And so this directive, signed by the governor, requires all executive branch employees and state contractors who enter the workplace or who have public-facing duties, they must disclose their vaccination status to the designated agency personnel. Executive branch employees who are not fully vaccinated must undergo weekly COVID testing. And so to give you a little bit of an update on where we are with implementing this executive directive, as of September 16th, state agencies reported information on about 96,000 employees. And so of this number, we have found that 71% of employees are fully vaccinated, 16% are either unvaccinated or partially vaccinated, and we still are seeking information on an additional 13%. That includes employees who are on extended leave. So employees who are unvaccinated or not fully vaccinated, as I mentioned, are subject to testing. Agencies have multiple options for implementing the testing protocols in their agency. That is to be determined by each agency based on their needs. For example, the number of employees. Some of our agencies have a geographic spread across the Commonwealth, while others may be located in one area. And all those factors are going to go into determining what are the testing protocols. Agencies are also receiving and reviewing employees' requests for accommodations that might be related to sincerely held religious beliefs or medical issues. And again, these requests are reviewed at the agency level. And while DHRM has information on their website, which can be seen here, I'd really encourage employees with questions about how the executive directive impacts them directly to talk to their agency. Their agency HR team and leadership is going to know the very detailed specifics in terms of how the executive directive is being implemented within that organization. All right, jumping into another topic that is always of interest to the workforce is employee compensation. And boy, has this been a year of a lot of activity that we've tried to keep up with related to employee pay. So we started with the normal General Assembly session, the first part of the year, and in that, a 5% pay increase was granted to classified employees and other salary employees that was effective on June the 10th. There was also an additional amount increase provided for the state police, the sworn employees, as well as a salary compression adjustment based on years of service. And the details of that adjustment is actually shown on the slide. We also saw potential increases for wage employees. Those were done at agency's discretion. I did flag here, however, that the General Assembly did pass increases to the minimum wage, both in May and another increase forthcoming in January, and then another increase the following January. We also saw and are in the process of implementing an additional bonus payment for corrections and law enforcement staff at Department of Corrections and Juvenile Justice, and they'll see that December 1st. And normally we would be done with pay adjustments. However, this year we realized there was another session, and General Assembly members authorized some additional funding for some additional agencies, and I've noted those herein. Funding was provided to the Department of Juvenile Justice to provide hazardous pay for probation and security staff and sign-on bonuses for some select workers. Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services were also provided funding for bonuses for direct care staff at state behavioral health facilities and training centers. And then Department of Corrections was also provided funding for hazardous pay for corrections and law enforcement staff. Department of State Police also saw some one-time funding for bonuses, compression bonuses, sign-on and retention bonuses, and some relocation expenses. And there are 2 additional studies underway today that DHRM is participating on. Both have different work groups. One is at State Police and the other is at Corrections. And all of these studies and efforts are really intended to try to address what are significant recruitment and retention issues within this specific population of our workforce. I will close a conversation on compensation with noting that the DHRM Employee Compensation and Benefits Report is forthcoming. It is going to be available, and I'm not sure how widespread this is known. It is publicly available on the website at the Legislative Information System site. So I've actually put that website here so that when that is available within the next 30 days, you would be able to go out and look at that report. This is where DHRM provides information to General Assembly members about the state salaries in comparison to market data and what that looks like for both base pay and our benefits programs. All right, the next thing I'll give you an update on is benefits. There has been not a significant amount of change in the size of our benefits program. I always like to share a little bit of information that shows how large this program is, with over 200,000 eligible state employees, non-Medicare retirees, and other dependents as part of our health care plan. We also have about 78,000 local government employees that participate in our health care programs. We have a Medicare retiree health plan that covers nearly 40,000 members and a line of duty program that's about 3,000. So we process about $2 billion a year in claims. It's a pretty large program for the Commonwealth. This year we had I believe, successful open enrollment. We utilized our online transaction system and saw 22,000 transactions processed through that system. We also distributed paper enrollment forms because we were concerned about members having access to the system, given that we were still in the pandemic at the time. Our monthly health insurance premiums did increase this past year. And I am pleased, however, to say our premium rewards also increased. We retained that program and went from 28% to 35% of eligible employees receiving an award. And I'm just going to put another plug in to say hopefully all employees will go and explore the opportunity to utilize premium rewards. It's a great way to bring down the cost of monthly health benefit premium. So when you do see increases, there is some way to offset that. And it's a relatively simple process to do so. Another plug and way to save money, Smart Shopper. I know this program was introduced a couple of years ago, but I'm going to keep repeating it until we've maxed out potential usage. So as a consumer of healthcare services, you can take some quick and easy steps to really shop for services. These are still great value services. A lot of times it might even be with your doctor at a facility that you had already planned to have a certain medical procedure performed. I would just encourage all members to go out to the DHRM website and read more about this program if it's not something that you're familiar with. And I'd also like to remind employees in the Richmond area that the Capitol Square Healthcare Clinic remains open. I visited yesterday to see how things were going, and I can tell you it's a great facility, it's clean, staff is very friendly, and most of the time with your appointment you kind of walk right in. And I know that's not always the case with every medical facility. So I would encourage people that are local to the downtown area to really take advantage of that facility. You can find more information on our website about the healthcare facility as well as the shared savings program. I mentioned that to you, but I added a screenshot here so you can see what that looks like on our site and be able to get more information at your leisure. For health benefits related to retirees, one slide here, and this is probably new and breaking information because I went on their website this morning and I did not see this posted, but the staff told me today that state employees who are retired and Medicare eligible, they're going to see their participant premium rates remain flat for 2022. I know typically when I provide this update, I always say we are still working and those will be provided to you soon. So I guess this is early breaking news for those who take the time to participate in watching the video. So I would also add, and I know I've become a broken record on this, I can't overemphasize the need to read and read again the annual open enrollment materials and the annual premium rate notification materials that are distributed. That information is also on the DHRM website. I know last year we had a couple hiccups with folks saying that the mail delivery was really slow. Be on the lookout for it, and if you don't receive it, definitely call our office or go online. It's important that there's just a wealth of information in those materials, and even I am constantly going back to those throughout the course of the year to reference those materials. So to close out kind of our health benefits section of this update, I will say overall the health insurance fund is financially sound. We're continuing to work with all our healthcare vendors and providers to make sure that we're bringing the best services that can be delivered. I want to encourage all of our members to use their benefits, especially our preventative and routine care benefits, which sometimes go unutilized. I think if nothing more, COVID has really demonstrated to all of us that our health and our wellness is really important, and we provide some pretty good benefits, so please take advantage of those. All right, I'm going to jump next to employee engagement. I know I mentioned diversity, equity, and inclusion last year. This was the year in working with the Governor's Office and the Chief Diversity Officer for the Commonwealth, Dr. Janice Underwood. The Commonwealth introduced a strategic plan for inclusive excellence. And I have provided to you the 5 One Virginia goals. The great thing about this plan is that it helps all agencies focus on the same same items and initiatives and areas that we know we can make improvement in for both diversity, for equity, and inclusion. And so the goals of the One Virginia Plan are to recruit and retain a diverse workforce, create and sustain an agency culture that affirms and respects diversity and employs inclusive practices throughout daily operations, engage the workforce in learning the concepts of DEI and the importance of these concepts to achieving agency mission. Fourth goal is create and sustain an organizational infrastructure to support accountability and achieving equity goals within the agency and the Commonwealth. And the fifth and final goal is focus community engagement activities on those that provide measurable, direct, equitable, and sustained benefit to all Virginia diverse communities. So each agency has been required to submit a DEI plan. That information has been submitted directly to Dr. Underwood and her team in the governor's office. And really, these plans represent the actions agencies are implementing to make that commitment to foster a culture of inclusion, diversity, and mutual respect for all Virginians. So there is a lot of information about the One Virginia Plan available on Dr. Underwood's website. I would encourage you to take a look at that if that's not something that's really been shared with you in the agency. And as I said last year, there's going to be a lot more to come on the One Virginia Plan in the near future. Next, I just want to remind you that there are a lot of online resources available for employees. And I share because I know sometimes we get so busy we just don't stop and look through what's at our fingertips. I will talk a little bit about employee discounts, Common Health, and CVC in a second. But what I will flag on this page is a contract that we just renewed this year. I shouldn't say renew, it was a new contract with Weight Watchers. And I'm pleased to report over 2,000 of our state employees have joined that program at a very reduced competitive rate and just reported that they lost a collective total of 7,000 pounds together. So I would encourage you to look at that if that's an area that might be of interest to you. Obviously, there's a lot of support in that program. Employee discounts, often overlooked, easy to save money. We have a wealth of categories. We have dedicated staff who are working to bring these to you as businesses come to us and say, hey, we'd like to offer this. A couple of things I'll do call out, not to support any one group, but because these are probably more attuned to being part of daily expenses. There are discounts for computer programs, software, and hardware. There's educational and entertainment discounts. And you may even find cellular discounts. I know Verizon's a popular carrier. You can actually participate in that program and see a reduction in your expenses each month. So I would just encourage you to take a few minutes to look at this page. It is updated regularly, so you might, a couple times a year, set a date and just flag it, maybe when you get paid. Is there a new employee discount that might be applicable to me that I might benefit from and save a few bucks? The next program I'll highlight is Common Health. I know this has been a program around for a long time, but they've put a renewed interest in really looking at topics that are most critical to our health and what's going on and safety in the workplace. And so we've got two things they're focused on, which is one is the publication of the Employee Experience magazine. Over 64,000 people have looked at this magazine. It's really a magazine meant to be, it's a digital magazine. It's for employees, by employees. You can actually participate by writing an article or sending in, I see poems that get sent in or photos that are submitted. But it's a great way to share information with each other about what's happening across the workforce. So I encourage you to take a look at that. And our current Common Health program, if this hasn't been brought into your agency and something you're interested in, definitely reach out to your HR team. It's RX Impact. It really is focused on prescription medication misuse and abuse, which is a significant issue, not only for adults, but youth. So this is something I think that can be a benefit, not just at work, but at home. So I'd encourage you to take advantage of these programs because they're free to your agency. And the next item I'll mention is our financial wellness program. Over 14,000 state employees have participated in some capacity in this program, whether they completed an online financial module, they took a financial assessment, or a quiz related to finances. We've done in-person seminars, and we do a lot of webinars. And there's just a wealth of information available. We have great partnerships with the Virginia Credit Union, the Virginia Retirement System, Virginia 529, and the Department of Treasury. So there is just a lot of rebranded, a lot of new information that's part of this program, and I would encourage you to take a look at that and pay attention for the monthly program announcements that are made. The last item I'll mention here is just there are resources to help all employees, family members. You know, we're still in a pandemic. It's been an extremely stressful year, almost 2 years now for everyone, and this has impacted each of us differently. And so I would just remind folks that there are resources there to help employees, whether it's financial, legal, mental health, physical health. You know, we provide these benefits so that, you know, you can be yourself and bring the best to work. Take advantage of them. That's what they're there for. Next, I'll jump into VGEA member questions. And the first one, why are some groups of employees getting additional pay, but not everyone? And so I want to share, and I know there's a lot of text on these slides, but it's because I wanted to make sure you also received a very thorough answer. You know, I need to remind, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of different types of positions in the Commonwealth, and so when we talk about groups of employees, just be mindful that not all of DHRM policies or practices cover all of your groups of employees, so my questions and so my responses may be more general than what you would like. Pay actions in the Commonwealth that typically apply across agencies or groups of employees are directed under General Assembly decision, and so we work to implement those. In terms of DHRM's role, we provide that annual compensation report that I mentioned earlier, and we provide very specific information related to base pay, turnover, retirements, hiring, recruitment, job, and the list could go on. We do work with General Assembly members, answer questions they may have as they are looking at specific agencies or specific populations of employees. A lot of times agencies do presentations during the year related to what's going on. I'm sure you've read about several in the paper recently if you're local to the Richmond area. So, we provide information and implement the decisions that are actually made. I will say it's typically no one quick, easy answer here. It's looking across a lot of different factors, especially turnover, recruitment, things that I mentioned, to figure out where funds that might be available could make the biggest impact based on the greatest needs that have been identified. And let's move to the next question, is to what extent must state workers be vaccinated? What are the consequences for noncompliance? So as I mentioned earlier, the use of the word state worker is very broad. And so there are many types of state workers, and the requirements and consequences related to vaccinations and testing might vary. And so an example of that is if you're work in a hospital or another congregate care setting versus being an accountant in a Department of Accounts or an office type situation. There are very specific guidelines for specific industries in some cases. Most of what I think applies in general across the board relates to Executive Directive 18, and that applies to all state employees. But the caveat is there may be more additional restrictions based, again, upon that agency. I'd encourage anyone with questions to this extent to speak to their agency specifically. They're going to be the best position to tell you what regulations and rules and guidelines are applicable to the situation with your agency or higher ed or entity. All right, the next question is what form of discipline should be issued to employees who refuse to show proof of vaccination, be tested, wear a mask? Can employees be terminated for failing to comply? So each situation has to be carefully evaluated on the individual facts and circumstances prior to making a termination to issue discipline or take any type of action. So what I would encourage you to do is pause this video, read this slide very carefully because the response is rather long and it goes into the next slide as well. The information that's written here or shown here is actually the guidance that DHRM has provided to agency HR. So, it's really about following the applicable standards of conduct policy. Employees must be notified in advance if there is an offense, provided an opportunity to respond within a reasonable time frame. Again, because there's so many different types of environments and agency-specific decisions that are involved in this, I would encourage employees with questions like this to really work with their agency HR team to get the questions and answers that they need. I will tell you that refusing to be responsive to requests for vaccination status, or refusing to be tested when you're required to do so, or wearing a mask, it absolutely can lead to a standards of conduct. It could lead to termination if that is a repeat offense. So I would say, take this serious. It's a really great question, and get the specific answers based on the specific situation. Moving forward, the last question, should unvaccinated employees pay a higher health insurance premium? This is a really great question. You may also have read in the newspaper or heard about this recently online. The Delta Airlines is doing just that for their employees. DHRM is researching vaccination surcharges. We are looking to determine legal, policy, and administrative implications of doing that. And we're doing that because we read about this at Delta Airlines, and we made an assumption that this may come up as an issue. And so we want to have our information ready to share if asked. And as you may know, the proposed health insurance premiums are included in the governor's budget when it's submitted in December. And so I guess at that time would be the best means for us to know whether or not something like that would actually occur. We've not been asked to do that at this time. All right, and that brings us to how do you stay connected? DHRM's got a lot of things going on and a lot of different ways that you might follow us based on your preference for use of social media. So as I've mentioned before, a lot of information on our website. We have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. I probably missed something here. Just know if there's a tool and technology that you like the best, there's likely an account that you can follow and stay up to date with information that we are providing. So with that, I'll just say thank you. I appreciate the relationship we have with the Virginia Government Employee Association, and look forward to more questions and hopefully being able to meet in person one day. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Trish Bishop, Director of the Virginia Retirement System. Before I begin, I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for all you do and continue to do without fail for those who depend on the services you provide throughout the Commonwealth. Thank you for what you do collectively and individually to serve the people of the Commonwealth. I always appreciate the invitation to be here with you at VGEA, and while I wish we were together in person, it's certainly great to leverage technology to be with you today to share VRS information during the second virtual VGEA conference. As an organization, our commitment is to serve those who serve others. And VRS is honored to serve members like you who serve others around the Commonwealth each and every day. Particularly during this pandemic, we're incredibly grateful for your service. And as we work to deliver on our commitment, it's our privilege to help our members plan for tomorrow, today. This is the agenda that we'll follow today. It's going to be a bit different than our usual format. I'll start with a big milestone, online retirement, and then recent enhancements to MyVRS. Then I'll talk about financial wellness, saving with your 457, and then an overview of VRS by the numbers. So let's get started. Let's first look at online retirement. As part of our efforts to enhance service delivery, we've achieved a major milestone. Our members can now retire online. VRS's online retirement solution is holistic in its approach to retirement counseling. It has built-in counseling, videos, and step-by-step guidance at key decision points. In addition to providing intuitive self-service features and pre-retirement counseling within our portal, VRS is also streamlining processes for our employers. Ultimately, this will help members make informed decisions and improve outcomes. So now let's turn to some other features in MyVRS. As a VRS member, you have a number of benefits in addition to retirement benefits. Use your MyVRS account to ensure you're always aware of those benefits. And some of these benefits actually follow you into retirement. As state employees, you have group life insurance coverage as an active member, and this benefit follows you into retirement at no cost to you. One of the most important actions you can take for yourself and your family is to ensure that you update your beneficiary information. This enables VRS to pay benefits according to your wishes. Go to your MyVRS account to update your beneficiary online at your convenience. Access MyVRS Financial Wellness to increase your financial knowledge and attend VRS educational sessions or access counseling services. If you're eligible, you may purchase service to enhance your retirement benefit. Long-term care coverage is also available. We'll take a look at many of these benefits in the next few minutes. So MyVRS is a unified system that has the following features: a goal-based retirement planner, a benefit estimator. It allows you self-service purchase of prior service. Security enhancements and new features are available for retirees. Comparison tools help college and university faculty members compare their retirement plan options. You'll have annual statements and member benefit profiles available. Financial wellness resources are available, as well as online retirement, online beneficiary designations, and now survivor accounts. Here's a look at the MyVRS landing page for members. You can see at a glance membership information that's specific to you. You can see your account balance, you can view your membership date and plan, and you can view your retirement eligibility information. The retirement planner and the benefit estimator in MyVRS include information to help you consider your needs, start your retirement planning, and create an estimate. The annual statement or member benefit profile provides information about retirement and other benefits for you as a VRS member. These benefits play an important role in your total compensation package and future retirement income. To protect your security and privacy, please set up your MyVRS account. If you have funds in the Commonwealth of Virginia 457 Deferred Compensation Plan, establish your online account through Mission Square Retirement Account Access, formerly ICMA-RC. It's simple. Complete the identity verification steps and then establish password-protected accounts. This helps prevent someone else from laying claim to the accounts fraudulently. So safeguard your credentials. Change your passphrases often. Don't share your account or login information with others. And don't use the same passphrase for your MyVRS account that you use with other personal accounts. Keep your MyVRS account access contact information current to ensure communications regarding your account are sent to the correct location. And be alert for unsolicited retirement counseling services. VRS counseling services are free and available by contacting VRS. VRS does not offer services via unsolicited calls or emails, and our counselors don't come to your home. VRS sends all correspondence by U.S. mail on official letterhead. Be cautious in responding to unsolicited offers of retirement planning or advice. If you aren't sure if a communication originated with VRS, contact us at 888-827-3847. Now that we've talked about claiming your account and the extensive information many tools MyVRS provides, let's turn now to our award-winning MyVRS Financial Wellness Program. At VRS, we're committed to holistic counseling, and MyVRS Financial Wellness supports this goal. So why do we offer financial wellness? Financial concerns have an impact in the workplace, as shown here. Personal finances are the #1 stressor on employees during the workday, according to a survey by Willis Towers Watson. VRS offers MyVRS Financial Wellness Suite of learning opportunities to help you feel more confident and knowledgeable about financial matters. MyVRS Financial Wellness topics range from buying a home and assessing your personal insurance needs to mastering credit and creating a financial plan. In addition to courses, tools and calculators help boost your knowledge. Educational games can be a fun way to learn too, and I bet we could all use a little fun these days. As an example, let's look at the credit card pay down tool in the MyVRS Financial Wellness Suite. It's designed to help you get strategic about paying down debt, showing different approaches you can take to reduce and eliminate the barriers standing in your way. Start with a simple debt inventory, adding your credit cards with their balances and those interest rates. Next, choose whether you value lower monthly payments now or paying off your debt as quickly as possible. Select your credit score range, and the credit card paydown tool provides 3 strategies for comparison: a balance transfer, fixed amount payments, or minimum payments. The credit card paydown tool is just one of the many resources MyVRS Financial Wellness has to offer on the topic of credit. Learn more or brush up your skills with interactive mini courses on mastering credit and optimizing your score. Using credit cards responsibly is also available to you. You'll find articles, videos, and guides to build your expertise and enhance your financial proficiency, no matter your current knowledge or learning style. I'm also excited to share that we now offer financial planning services with Mission Square Retirement, which was formerly ICMA-RC. Use varetire.org, make a plan to schedule individual consultations with a certified financial planner. All VRS members and retirees can use this service. The website includes a schedule of upcoming webinars conducted by the Certified Financial Planner team. The website also includes an overview of available services, such as full-service financial planning and associated costs, and helps people understand the difference between the certified financial planners and the defined contribution plan specialists. It's a great service, and we're excited to be able to offer it to all VRS members, including those without a DC plan account balance. Now let's look at your savings opportunities using your 457 plan. The Commonwealth of Virginia's Deferred Compensation Plan can help you realize your retirement goals. Salaried or wage state employees can participate. In addition, if you qualify for the Virginia Cash Match Plan, you'll receive a cash match from the Commonwealth. The cash match amount of $20 was established in July 14th of 2000. The cash match plan for salaried state employees is 50% of the contribution you make to the 457 plan, not to exceed $20 per pay period. Wage employees are not eligible for the cash match. Hybrid retirement plan members must first maximize their voluntary contributions in the hybrid deferred compensation plan before receiving a cash match in the Virginia Cash Match Plan. Don't miss these opportunities. You can enroll online or by calling toll-free. For the 457 deferred compensation plan, the minimum amount you contribute is $10 per pay period, and the maximum you can contribute is 100% of your includable compensation or the maximum listed on the website, which changes annually via IRS guidance. So you might be wondering if there's a reason to start saving more early for retirement. After all, when you're younger, retirement can seem like it's a long way away. There are some really compelling reasons to increase the amount you contribute in voluntary contributions to your hybrid account and to start doing this sooner rather than later. Here's an illustration that shows you the difference that starting early can make. In this hypothetical example, both Sarah and Michael made a $100 monthly contribution with a $40 employer match to their retirement accounts. Sarah began saving at age 25, but stopped at age 40. She contributed for 15 years. Her total contributions added to $25,200, but the approximate value of her savings at age 65 is $172,000 plus. Meanwhile, Michael only started saving at age 40 and stopped saving at age 65. He contributed for 25 years, 10 years longer than Sarah, and his total contribution amount was $42,000, also more than Sarah. However, at age 65, the approximate value of his retirement savings was only $94,796. While this is an example and actual returns may vary depending on your investments, the plan can help you save for retirement, and starting early is important. The point here is that by starting early, you can take advantage of the power of compound interest. So to the extent that you're able, start saving early and often. So what are we doing to help you reach your goals? VRS has a range of calculators to help you estimate what you need to save and how to do it. From boosting your current savings to planning for the future to managing distributions and healthcare costs in retirement, these handy tools help you do the math in your planning process. I'll pull out a couple of my favorites here. The Savings Boost Calculator shows how boosting your savings can enhance your retirement. The Small Change, Big Savings shows how cutting back on everyday items, such as sort of fancy coffee, can really add up over time. And another favorite is the Paycheck Calculator that shows how contributions to your account can affect your paycheck. Surprisingly, due to their pre-tax nature, savings contributions often don't change your bottom line or take-home pay all that much. So we also provide outreach in a variety of ways to be the most effective for you. We offer everything from one-on-one counseling to videos and webinars. Examples will be highlighted as we continue. But how does a member obtain counseling services from VRS? For now, you can call the contact center and set up either a scheduled phone appointment or virtual video appointment. We'll soon have a scheduling tool that will allow you to schedule your appointments online at a time convenient for you. Employers are also holding benefit fairs virtually, and we're open to participating in those fairs. We also have our webinars recorded for your reference. If your employer would like to set something up, just let us know and have them reach out to us. So many options and resources are available to defined contribution plan participants, including counseling, publications, videos, webinars, and tools. The DC Plan's retirement specialists are also conducting virtual meetings during this time. Also, I want to share that ICMA-RC, as I noted earlier, which serves as the record keeper for our 457 plan and our other defined contribution plans, has changed its name to Mission Square Retirement. So now let's look at VRS by the numbers. VRS is the 18th largest pension system in the United States and the 41st largest in the world. And we're privileged to serve more than 752,000 members. Teachers are our largest employee group followed by local government employees, and then state employee groups. The hybrid retirement plan is the plan for new employees, with the exception of those who are in hazardous duty positions, such as folks who serve in the state police, or those who serve in valors like correctional officers, as well as local police officers. Hybrid plan active membership for state employees has now exceeded the number of Plan 1 members. So a question was submitted about the trust and changing market conditions. The next few slides serve to address this and similar questions. I also invite you to take a look at our new investments page on the website. There you will find a video that summarizes the fiscal year performance and features the VRS board chair, our chief investment officer, and myself providing a view of the return from each of our perspectives. It's short and presents return information in a new and different format. In addition, it's important to know that VRS trust assets are solely for the benefit of our members and beneficiaries. And here's the value of the trust over time. You'll notice a few dips. The first reflects the post-2000 tech bubble, followed by the 2008-9 Great Recession. And over time, as depicted here, the fund has generally maintained steady growth. After the COVID-19 pandemic led to several months of extreme market volatility, at June 30th, 2021, the fund balance stood at approximately $101.8 billion. And as you can see, this marks a milestone for the fund. We understand that during this pandemic, volatility in the financial markets created some concerns among VRS members and retirees. However, the fund had an outstanding double-digit return of 27.5% this fiscal year. As an investor in both public and private assets, VRS experiences the impacts of market conditions, but we've positioned the fund portfolio to weather these impacts over the long term as soundly as possible. No single investment type dominates VRS's highly diversified portfolio, and VRS investment professionals are continuously monitoring and focused on managing the portfolio for the long term. I should note that the 25-year return for the period ending June 30th was 8.1%, well above the long-term assumed rate of return of 6.75%. Also, remember that investment performance does not affect your defined benefit retirement benefit amount. It's calculated using a formula. So now let's take a look at the asset allocation strategy that allowed the fund to reach this milestone of $100 billion plus as of June 30th. That figure reflects VRS's investments in stocks, bonds, real estate, cash, and other assets to diversify the portfolio. Diversification mixes different types of investments to not only realize gains, but also lower risk of the overall portfolio. Diversification is key when thinking about managing the portfolio for the long term through bull and bear market cycles. So how does all of this work? To fund the defined benefit plans, VRS receives contributions from employers and members like you. We collect those funds and invest them. This chain shows how contributions, investments, and benefits are part of a chain that strengthens our economy. The contributions earn interest and dividends over time, and the returns help fund the benefits which pay our retirees. It might come as a surprise, but historically, investment income has funded approximately 2/3 of benefit payments. That's why at VRS we focus so intently on investments. Our retirees and beneficiaries then take their benefit, purchase goods and services in their communities, pay taxes, which all help boost the state and local economies. So now let's explore the importance of diversification in a little bit more detail. Diversification mixes different types of investments to limit exposure to a single asset or strategy. This lowers the risk of the overall portfolio and the risk associated with exposure to a single investment or strategy. In addition, diversification creates a stable foundation for the fund that helps moderate volatility of market swings. The code requires VRS to provide employer contribution rates that are relatively level from year to year. So the diversification of our investments helps ensure greater consistency from year to year so that the Commonwealth, school divisions, and localities can better predict budget needs. VRS's diversification strategy helps mitigate the impacts of sharp and dramatic downturns in the market. This also means that VRS might give up some of the upside when the market's good. However, only investing in stocks such as the S&P would increase risk and decrease diversification. Although the S&P has done well this year, this is not always the case. So then rather than putting all of our eggs in one basket, we diversify the portfolio with a mix of assets to ensure solid performance over time. So one commonly used measure to gauge the health of a plan is funded status. The plan it's a ratio of assets available to pay benefits compared to the plan's liabilities. The funded ratio of the state plan as of fiscal year 2020 was 72.9%. And this fall, we'll be reviewing this funded status as part of our actuarial valuation process, and that will be updated in October. So another question that was submitted related to health insurance credit. So I'll just take a moment to address that here. Keep in mind that benefits VRS administers are statutory, which means they're determined by the legislature. So as noted, the health insurance credit provides a reimbursement to assist with the cost of a retiree's health insurance premiums. The credit's a dollar amount set by the General Assembly for each year of service, and it's added to the retiree's monthly retirement benefit. You may or may not know that active employee health insurance premiums are heavily supported by the Commonwealth. Once an employee retires and is no longer in the active plan, the employer subsidy diminishes somewhat. So, those who choose to retire before Medicare eligibility are likely paying higher health insurance premiums at retirement. However, when the retiree reaches Medicare eligibility, the premiums drop significantly, and the health insurance credit then covers a much larger portion of those premiums. As members prepare for retirement, paying for health insurance coverage will require careful consideration, especially for those who are not eligible for Medicare yet. From a fund perspective, though, the health insurance credit is not as well funded as the pension plans and has considerable unfunded liabilities. At this time, increasing the credit would actually increase those liabilities. Senator Ruff submitted an alternative that would add a cost of living adjustment to the health insurance credit. And it would be for those employees who had 30 years or more of service. The bill did not pass, and it was likely due to resource considerations. It would yield about an $81 million increase in the unfunded liabilities associated with the health insurance credit, and it's on a plan that's only about 10% funded. It would also increase employer contributions by about $7 million annually. So you can find more information related to the costs associated with that particular bill in the fiscal impact statement on the General Assembly website. So maybe it's our climate, maybe it's the scenery, or maybe it's just that Virginia really is for lovers, but about 86% of our retirees remain in the Commonwealth. And in fiscal year 2020, VRS paid out $5.3 billion to retirees. So whatever the reason, maybe it's our weather, maybe it's other things, it's really good news for all of us that these dollars remain in the Commonwealth and are circulated back into the economy. So here are some takeaways and takeaway items to help you plan for tomorrow today. A few actions to consider are, to the extent you're able, start saving early using the 457 plan. As you're able, maximize contributions to the 457 plan or voluntary contributions to the hybrid retirement plan. Use online tools to help you plan and develop a savings strategy. Subscribe to member news to stay up to date on your benefits. And use your MyVRS Financial Wellness suite of offerings to increase your knowledge on financial topics. And make sure you explore all of these tools available, especially those in MyVRS, that help you stay on target for your retirement. Keep your beneficiary up to date so VRS pays according to your wishes. This is very important. And organize your personal information using VRS's Get Organized guide. So thanks so much for your interest in VRS, for your time, and for your attention. We have a strong commitment to trying to help our members plan for tomorrow today. And I hope that what I highlighted today will encourage you to take action in planning for your financial future. And thank you again for your service to the Commonwealth. And thanks for the opportunity to be with you today. I'm hoping the next time we meet will be in person. Until then, stay safe, be well, and thank you so much. Hi everyone, I'm Trish Bishop, Director of the Virginia Retirement System. Before I begin, I want to express my sincere appreciation for the services that you provided across the Commonwealth during your careers. I always appreciate the opportunity to be with retirees, particularly those of you with VGEA. While I truly wish we could be together in person, it's certainly great to be able to leverage technology to be with you virtually today and share this information during our second virtual VGEA conference. As an organization, our commitment is to serve those who serve others. And VRS is honored to serve retirees like you who've served others around the Commonwealth each and every day. As we work to deliver on our commitment, it's our privilege to help our members plan for tomorrow, today, and our commitment doesn't end when you transition to retirement. This is the agenda we'll follow for today. It's going to be a little bit different than previous formats. I'll start with recent enhancements to MyVRS, and then talk about financial wellness, retiree benefits and resources, and then I'll provide an overview of VRS by the numbers. So let's get started. First, let's take a look at MyVRS for retirees. By accessing your MyVRS account, you can see all of your information in one place. You can view your last benefit payment amount and your retirement date. You can look at your plan and your age at retirement, among other information. And if you have not done so already, create your MyVRS account. It allows you to access your 1099, look at your benefit statement, request a change to your tax withholding, print income verification letters, and update your contact information. Also, claiming your online account is a cybersecurity best practice and helps protect you online. In addition, MyVRS features some new enhancements. Direct deposit management is now available. I'm happy to share that retirees now have a simple new way to set up direct deposit or notify VRS when they change financial institutions or bank accounts and need to redirect their monthly financial benefit. This will replace the direct deposit form. And also, we're offering online beneficiary management. I can't stress enough how important it is to make sure your beneficiaries are up to date. And I'm pleased to report that VRS members and retirees can now update beneficiaries online instead of submitting the designation of beneficiary form. This function includes beneficiaries for the VRS defined benefit plan and group life insurance benefits. Members with defined contribution accounts will continue to update beneficiaries through account access. Some other new self-service features include health insurance credit management. So instead of filling out and mailing the request for health insurance credit form, which was the VRS 45, you can simply go online to claim the credit, report insurance premium changes, or make other adjustments. Also, we're providing online access to survivors. For the first time, members or retirees who are receiving survivor benefits based on another member's account can view their survivor benefits using their personal MyVRS account. You'll notice a few new features on your MyVRS landing page. This drop-down menu gives you access to all the features I just mentioned. Change your tax withholding, update your health insurance credit information, manage your beneficiaries, and change your payment destination. It's easy, it's paperless, so no more forms, and it gives you the information you need to manage your retirement at your convenience and keeps your personal information up to date. If you didn't set up a MyVRS account as a member or retiree, we urge you to claim your retirement account. If you set up your MyVRS account more than 4 years ago, VRS has enhanced security, so you should renew your registration. If you have retained funds in the Commonwealth of Virginia 457 plan, establish your online account through Account Access if you haven't already done so. By registering your online accounts, completing the identity verification steps, and then establishing password-protected accounts, you're helping prevent someone else from laying claim to your account fraudulently. So safeguard your credentials as well. Change your passwords often, and don't use it for other accounts. Don't share your account login with anyone else. And keep your MyVRS and account access contact information current to ensure communications regarding your account are sent to the correct location. And also, be alert for unsolicited retirement counseling services. VRS counseling services are free and available by contacting VRS. We don't offer services via unsolicited emails or calls. Counselors don't come to members' home. And VRS sends all correspondence via U.S. mail on official VRS letterhead. So if you aren't sure if a communication originated with VRS, please contact us at 888-827-3847. So as with your MyVRS account, it's important for you to set up your Social Security account. Your online statement gives you secure, convenient access to your earnings records. To set up or use your account to get to your online Social Security statement, go to Sign In or Create an Account. If you don't have an account yet, you can easily create one. You can create one using your own personal information and for your own exclusive use. You can't create an account on behalf of another person or use someone else's information or identity, even if you have that person's written permission. So now let's take a look at MyVRS Financial Wellness that's available to you. So if you're setting up a budget or trying to find ways to spend less, all of these important issues are addressed through MyVRS Financial Wellness. Videos, webinars, infographics can be a fun way to learn, and we could probably all use a little bit of fun these days. And speaking of financial wellness, VRS now offers financial planning services with Mission Square Retirement, formerly ICMA-RC. Use the link on this slide to schedule individual consultations with a certified financial planner. These 30-minute sessions are offered at no cost to you. The website also includes a schedule of upcoming webinars, which are conducted by certified financial planners. An overview of available services, such as full-service financial planning and associated costs, is also noted on the website. And the website includes material to help you understand the difference between the certified financial planners and the defined contribution plan specialists. It's a great service, and we're excited to be able to offer it to all VRS members, including to those members who don't have a DC account balance. The certified financial planners professionals offer guidance and support to help you feel confident about your financial security and find a path forward for planning your estate, reducing debt, budgeting, protecting your loved ones, or optimizing Social Security benefits. So now let's look at your benefits and resources. The 2021 COLA took effect July 1 for eligible retirees. A cost of living adjustment, or COLA, of 1.23% took effect July 1 for eligible retirees in Plan 1, Plan 2, or the hybrid retirement plan, which is the defined benefit portion only. The payment was included in your August 1 benefit payment statement. Also, you're covered under group life insurance through VRS after retirement. The coverage reduces 25% each year until it reaches 25% of its value at retirement, but it can never go below $8,722 for those who have 30 years of service. And this was an initiative that VGEA worked to effectuate. The rate is examined each year, and it may be increased. It's very important for you to keep your beneficiaries up to date. And as I noted, online beneficiary management is now available. Simply log into MyVRS to make these changes. And VRS pays benefits to the beneficiary that you name. So if you haven't checked your beneficiary in a while, it might be a great time to review or update this to ensure that the right person is named as your beneficiary. Also, note that the benefit payout option you selected at retirement cannot change after retirement, except for the survivor option, and only under certain circumstances. So for instance, if you selected the survivor option at retirement, meaning you named someone to receive a portion of your retirement benefit after your death, you may be able to name a new survivor, or you may revert to the basic benefit if that person predeceases you. So if this should happen, please call us and find out what you might need to do to make that change. So to update your beneficiary, go to your MyVRS account, select Manage My Retirement, then select Manage Beneficiaries. It's simple, and you can update your beneficiary at any time convenient for you. So the health insurance credit provides a reimbursement to assist with the cost of retiree health insurance premiums for eligible retirees. As this is a tax-free benefit under the Internal Revenue Code, the health insurance credit cannot exceed the actual amount of individual health insurance premium. And you must have 15 years of service with an eligible employer to qualify for the benefit. State employees, including participants in an optional or alternate retirement plan, receive certain credit amount of $4 per year of service, and disability retirees and long-term disability retirees receive $120 or $4 per year of service, whichever is greater. The benefit amount used to be capped at $120 per month, but now there is no cap. So one of the questions that came in from VGEA membership related to the health insurance credit. And so keep in mind that the benefits that VRS administers are statutory, which means that they're determined by the legislature. As noted, the health insurance credit provides a reimbursement to assist with the cost of a retiree's health insurance premiums. The credit's a dollar amount set by the General Assembly for each year of service, and it's added to a retiree's monthly retirement benefit. You may or may not know that active employee health insurance premiums are heavily supported by the Commonwealth. So once an employee retires and is no longer in that active plan, the employer subsidy diminishes somewhat. So those who choose to retire before Medicare eligibility are likely paying higher health insurance premiums at retirement. However, when the retiree reaches Medicare eligibility, the premiums do drop, and the health insurance credit covers a much larger portion of the premium. As members prepare for retirement, paying for health coverage will require careful consideration, especially for those who are not yet eligible for Medicare. And from a fund perspective, the health insurance credit is not as well funded as the pension plans and has considerable unfunded liabilities. At this time, increasing the credit amount would also increase those liabilities. Senator Ruff in Senate Bill 1057 offered a bill that would add a cost of living adjustment to the health insurance credit. Although the bill didn't pass, it did apply to employees with 30 or more years of service. But the bill would have cost approximately $7 million annually for employers, and it would add about $81 million to the unfunded liabilities of the health insurance credit. In addition, these liabilities would be on a plan that is only about 10% funded. So you can find more information related to the costs associated with that bill in the fiscal impact statement that's located on the General Assembly website. So your privacy is of paramount importance. So if you want someone to assist you with your VRS affairs, please review these two forms. Please make careful note of the difference between the two forms. The VRS 900 allows someone to speak on your behalf, and the VRS 901 is more powerful because it is a durable power of attorney that allows you to appoint someone to make VRS decisions on your behalf. So in my family, we often say that the 900 is for the family members you like, but the 901 is probably for the family members you trust a whole lot. So manage your personal information. Locating important household, legal, and financial records can be a challenge, even when it's not an emergency. What if you, a family member or executor of an estate, needed quick access to vital information? To help you track and set up central repository for your records, VRS has created the Get Organized Tool Guide. It's available on the website under Publications. Also on the website, you'll find Losing a Loved One brochure that guides family members on VRS benefits. We also redesigned our website to better serve you. Look for the Already Retired tab on the homepage. This is where you'll discover relevant benefit information. Note that My VRS button is at the top right-hand corner of the page, and VRS does have a social media presence, and we see this presence growing. If you haven't joined us on Facebook or LinkedIn, we invite you to do so. So we're here to serve you when you retire, and you can call us anytime. You can also look for retiree news twice a year, and visit our website and consult your retiree handbook, which is the Retiree Roadmap. And please share your story with us and others in the next edition of Retiree News. You might follow in the footsteps of other retired government employees by doing so. And I hope this update and information are useful to you. So now let's close with a look at by the numbers, the membership and investments information. Teachers are our largest employee group, followed by local government employees and then state employees. The hybrid retirement plan is the plan for new employees, with the exception of those folks who are in hazardous duty positions, such as state police or correctional officers and valors and local police. Hybrid plan active membership for state employees has now exceeded the number of Plan 1 members. VRS has a large footprint. We're the 18th largest pension plan in the U.S. and the 41st largest in the world. And we're privileged to serve more than 752,000 members. A question was submitted by a VGEA member about the trust and changing market conditions. The next few slides serve to address this and similar or related questions. I also invite you to take a look at our new investment page on the website. There you'll find a video that summarizes the fiscal year performance and features our board chair, chief investment officer, and myself looking at the fund over the year and giving each of our own perspectives. It's short and presents return information in a new and different way. In addition, it's important to know that VRS trust assets are solely for the benefit of members and beneficiaries. And here's the value of our trust over time. You'll notice a few dips. The first reflects the tech bubble. The other one is the Great Recession in 2008/2009. And over time, as depicted here, the fund has generally grown and has steady growth. After the COVID-19 pandemic led to several months of market volatility, at June 30th, 2021, the fund balance stood at approximately $101.8 billion. So as you can see, this marks a milestone for the fund. We understand that during the pandemic, volatility in the financial markets created concern among VRS members and retirees. However, the fund had an outstanding double-digit return of 27.5% this fiscal year. As an investor in both public and private assets, VRS experiences the impact of market conditions, but we've positioned the fund portfolio to weather these impacts over the long term as soundly as possible. No single investment type dominates VRS's highly diversified portfolio, and VRS investment professionals are continuously monitoring and focused on managing the portfolio for the long term. I should note that the 25-year return for the period ending June 30th was 8.1%, well above the long-term assumed rate of return of 6.75%. Also, remember that investment performance does not affect your defined benefit retirement amount because it's calculated based on a formula. So now let's take a look at the asset allocation strategy that allowed the fund to reach approximately $101 billion in assets as of June 30. This figure reflects that VRS invests in bonds, stocks, real estate, cash, and other assets to diversify the portfolio. Diversification mixes different types of investments, not only to realize gains, but also to lower risk in the overall portfolio. Diversification is key when thinking about managing the portfolio for the long term and through bull and bear market cycles. So let's explore the importance of diversification a little bit more. Diversification mixes different types of investments to limit exposure to a single asset or strategy. It lowers the risk of the overall portfolio and the risk associated with exposure to a single investment or strategy. In addition, diversification creates a stable foundation for the fund that helps moderate volatility of market swings. The code requires VRS to provide employer contribution rates that are relatively level from year to year. The diversification of our investments help ensure greater consistency from year to year so that the Commonwealth, along with school divisions and localities, can better predict budgetary needs. VRS's diversification strategy helps mitigate the impacts of sharp and dramatic downturns in the market. This also means that VRS might give up some of the upside when the stock market is good. However, only investing in stocks such as the S&P index would increase risk and decrease diversification. Although the S&P has done well this year, this isn't always the case. Rather than putting all of our eggs in one basket, VRS diversifies the portfolio with a mix of assets to ensure solid performance over time. One commonly used measure to gauge the health of a plan is funded status. The funded status of a plan is the ratio of assets available to pay benefits compared to the plan's liabilities. The state plan's funded status in FY 2020 was 72.9%. We'll review the funded status this October when we do our actuarial valuations. So maybe it's our climate, maybe it's the scenery, maybe it's that Virginia really is for lovers, but whatever the reason, 86% of our retirees remain in the state. In fiscal year 2020, VRS paid approximately $5.3 billion to retirees. So whatever the reason retirees choose to remain in Virginia, it's good news for all of us that these dollars remain in the Commonwealth and are circulated into state and local economies. So how does all of this work? To fund the defined benefit plans, VRS receives contributions from employers and employees like you. We collect these funds and invest them. This chart shows how the contribution, investments, and benefits are part of this chain. The contributions earn interest and dividends over time, and then those returns help fund the benefits we pay out to retirees. It might come as a surprise, but historically, investment income has funded approximately 2/3 of benefit payments. That's why VRS focuses so intently on our investment program. Our retirees and beneficiaries then take their benefit payments and purchase goods and services in their communities, pay taxes, all helping to boost state and local economies. So here are some important actions for you to consider. There are a few takeaways here. Use your MyVRS Financial Wellness suite of offerings to increase your knowledge about financial topics. Explore the tools and resources available to you in our MyVRS account, such as keeping track of your benefit payment amounts or making any changes. Read retiree news to ensure you're abreast of any changes. Organize your personal information using the VRS Get Organized guide. Keep your beneficiary information up to date using your MyVRS account. And if you have any questions, give us a call. So thanks so much for your interest in VRS. Thanks for your time and for your attention. I hope that what I highlighted today will encourage you to take some actions to manage your VRS information and stay in touch so you can successfully work with VRS to manage your benefits. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank you again for your dedicated service to the Commonwealth. Thank you again for this opportunity to be with you and the members of VGEA, and I'm hoping that the next time we'll meet in person. Until then, please stay safe, be well, and many thanks.
Hello, my name is Rick Fowler, and I'm Chief Lobbyist for VGEA and also work with Membership Development. Thank you for viewing our 2021 virtual annual meeting. Hopefully next year we can all be together again. Even though this has been a good year for VGEA, we had some challenges. We've had to deal with COVID, and now we're dealing with COVID a second time. We started out in the 2021 session not included in the governor's budget, but the state employees were still able to receive a 5% raise. We've maintained a great relationship with your senators and delegates and work hard for VGA members. Remember that your senators and delegates are there to represent you, their constituents, and they represent you very well. Be sure to thank them for the 5% raise the next time you have the opportunity or you see them. Elections for the Virginia House of Delegates are this year, and we know that we'll have some new delegates. I plan to visit the delegates as soon as possible and welcome them back, and also visit our new delegates to welcome them to the General Assembly and to introduce them to VGEA. Our goal for this 2022 session will be again to continue to lobby for raises for the state employees and to keep the cost of health care down. It's my personal goal this session to work closely with the departments and the agencies that are going through difficult times. I'd like to also help our retirees in this session and have already started checking into some things that will be beneficial for them. We're happy that our retirees received a COLA, cost of living raise, of 1.23, which was effective July the 1st for Plans 1 and Plan 2 and the hybrid plan. And our retirement system is doing very well, and we thank them for their hard work. Despite of COVID and not being allowed to go into a lot of the state agencies, I've been able to stay in contact with our members, agencies and human resources managers, and look forward to COVID leaving so we can again visit with our state employees. VGA is still strong, and remember that VGEA is the only advocate group for the state employees. Remind your coworkers to join VGEA and tell them what we do. Remember, the more members we have with VGEA, the louder our voice is at the General Assembly. Thank you, and hope to see you next year in person.
Hi there, my name is Dylan Bishop, I'm with KVCF Solutions, and we have the pleasure of representing the Virginia Government Employees Association on legislative matters. I'm a former state employee and care greatly about the mission we have here, and that's to support our state employees, our retired state employees, and to make employment within the Commonwealth for our younger generation more enticing. So it's been some time since we last spoke, so what I'll do is I'll cover the 2021 General Assembly session, then I'll cover the special session that convened in August of this year and the allocation of federal ARPA funds. Then I'll move on to ongoing matters and what to expect for the 2022 General Assembly session, which will convene in January. So the 2021 General Assembly session posed unprecedented issues for VGEA, its lobbying team, and the General Assembly as a whole. Legislators entered the session fatigued as they were just a month removed from an 84-day marathon special session. Lobbyists and legislators alike were hamstrung by the constraints of a virtual General Assembly session. And there was also uncertainty as to how long the short non-budget session year would last. Consequently, VGEA proposed a relatively conservative legislative agenda for the 2021 General Assembly session, which included the following 4 priorities. First and foremost, avoid pandemic-related layoffs and furloughs. Number 2, maintain or increase the bonuses for public employees proposed by the special session budget. 3, if possible, convert the proposed public employee bonuses to pay raises such that it's not a one-time shot in the arm, but a sustained increase in compensation. And finally, ensure retirees' health insurance credit is not reduced due to the pandemic-related recession. So by these metrics, VGEA far exceeded its expectations for the 2021 legislative session. So compensation increases. VGEA's biggest win of the session was a 5% pay increase for all state employees, teachers, state-supported local employees, and adjunct faculty at institutions of higher education, despite the Commonwealth's ongoing pandemic recession. Virginia State Police sworn officers also received an additional 3% salary increase for a total of an 8% raise, and they also received some compression adjustments. So this $176 million investment in the state's workforce even exceeds the amount included in the pre-pandemic budget, which, as most of you well know, was promised, then unallocated, or stricken from the budget out of concerns for the pandemic-related recession. But thankfully, they were put back in the budget, and then we actually wound up better off than we were going into the pandemic. So in addition to these across the board compensation increases, correctional officers at the Department of Corrections and Department of Juvenile Justice will receive a $1,000 bonus on December 1st of 2021. The General Assembly also authorized a staffing and compensation study at Department of Corrections to address long-standing recruitment and retention issues. These issues magnify the larger issue that state employees are having. They're even more exacerbated within the Department of Corrections. So that study is still ongoing. We're making good progress, and hopefully the General Assembly comes back with a recommendation to significantly overhaul the compensation structure at Department of Corrections. The 2021 General Assembly budget also included another $4.4 million allocation to increase the minimum pay band for local Department of Social Services positions in this fiscal year. And what that means is the pay band minimum would increase by 20% for family services positions and 15% for all other benefit program services positions, self-sufficiency services positions, and administration positions that are currently below the new minimum threshold. Now moving on to employee benefits. With Virginia's medical marijuana program in full swing and the legalization of adult use cannabis on the horizon, the General Assembly passed House Bill 1862, to provide employee protections for the prescribed use of medical cannabis. The legislation prohibits employers, including the Commonwealth of Virginia, from discharging, disciplining, or discriminating against an employee for his or her lawful use of medical cannabis. However, this protection is not without limitation, of course. The employer may still prohibit the possession of cannabis during working hours, take disciplinary action for work impairment caused by the use of cannabis, and there are certain other nuanced limitations in place for those in positions of national defense and cybersecurity infrastructure. As far as recruitment and retention efforts go, there is at least one silver lining to the pandemic. The 2021 budget directs Department of Human Resource Management to study how teleworking options utilized during the pandemic can be used to increase recruitment and retention of state employees. In addition, the 2021 General Assembly budget provides funding for the replacement of recruitment management system. So again, this is an additional effort to jumpstart the Commonwealth of Virginia's recruitment efforts in order to get a shot from the younger generation so that we can try to offset the top-heavy nature of the state employee workforce. So with that in mind, the General Assembly invested in the state's workforce by providing a 5% raise across the board, established additional employee protections, and is looking to modernize what state employment looks like based on what we've learned during the pandemic. So by those metrics, the 2021 General Assembly session was a resounding success. So that was the state of affairs as of March of this year. But again, we had a special session this past August, and that was where the General Assembly and the governor allocated over $4 billion in one-time federal ARPA funds. I'll hit a couple of the highlights there, but there was quite a lot going on. So some of the high points, the government has allocated $250 million in direct aid to public education for qualifying ventilation improvement projects in local public schools. $40 million to the Virginia Community College system for capital projects at the Northern Virginia Community College in order to bolster their trade instruction program. The Commonwealth also allocated $45 million to the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services for bonuses to be provided to direct care staff at state behavioral health facilities and intellectual disability training centers. $10 million was allocated to the Department of Health for the modernization of administrative systems and software in order to create response capacity for future emergencies. And compensation increases or bonuses for certain portions of our state employee workforce, particularly with regard to law enforcement. So sheriffs, deputies, and regional jail officers were given a $3,000 one-time hazard pay bonus for their work during the COVID-19 pandemic. These folks still had to interact oftentimes in close quarters with members of the public without regard to whether they were exposed to COVID-19 or not. So this is something that VGEA advocated wholeheartedly for to try to, address recruitment and retention issues in state employment, but also to show gratitude to our public servants that were on the front line. That also extends to those home care providers. $31 million was allocated to Department of Corrections for COVID-19 testing and vaccination projects. Let's see, and there was also $500,000 allocated to Department of Juvenile Justice to provide hazard pay for probation and security staff and sign-on bonuses for cafeteria and janitorial workers. And then finally, state police, $20 million was allocated to do an overarching study to study their compensation structure and to address longstanding recruitment and retention issues within Department of State Police. So state police can expect to receive a $5,000 bonus to all sworn law enforcement officers, compression bonuses ranging between 2 and 8% of annual salary, and as appropriate, sign-on and recruitment bonuses to newly hired troopers that can reach up to $5,000. There's also an overarching study that was passed through the budget that's going to look not only at Department of State Police compensation structure, but also compensation structure with regional jails and our local sheriff's departments. Again, that's in conjunction with the ongoing study looking particularly at Department of Corrections. So again, we are beating the drum, advocating for, most importantly, sustainable compensation increases. We're looking for innovative ways to make state employment more accessible, more flexible, and more appealing to a broader audience. And want to make sure that our state employees are taken care of, both from a safety perspective and a financial perspective. So just to recap, we've got 3 ongoing studies right now. We've got the study looking at Department of Corrections in particular, their compensation issues, recruitment, retention issues. We've got a study that's looking at sheriff's deputies and regional jail officers. And then we also have a separate study looking at Department of State Police's compensation structure. So this is with particular eye to law enforcement. Much is still going on here. We should receive the recommendations from these work groups either in October or November of this year. And those recommendations will more likely not serve as the starting position for legislation or budget amendments moving forward into the 2022 General Assembly session. Now, that 2022 General Assembly session, of course, will convene in January. It is a long session or a budget year session. So instead of meeting for 45 calendar days, the General Assembly will meet for 60 calendar days. And again, they give the General Assembly more time to pass this budget. Because it is a budget year, we will, of course, be advocating for compensation increases. We're going to be advocating for pay raises across the board, and more specifically, pay raises, tailored pay raises and compensation incentives for high turnover and high skill positions. But I think VGEA's position and the guidance we've received from the VGEA leadership maintains steadfast that our utmost priority is making sure that the state workforce does not lag the private sector, that salaries are competitive, that folks have adequate health insurance, they're not forced into continuing to work beyond their fruitful years because they can't afford to retire due to the rising cost of health insurance. And again, we want to make sure that we continue to focus on recruitment and retention issues, recruitment efforts to make sure that we get the next generation of highly qualified and highly incentivized employees to take the role and fill the void of the leadership that is considering retiring in the coming years. So that's a general overview of what's happened since we last spoke and what we can look forward to coming up in January of this year. If you have additional questions or suggestions, please pass them along to your VGEA representatives. I think info@vgea.org is the best email address to submit those questions, inquiries, and suggestions to. I, of course, will make myself available and be as helpful and answer any questions you guys might have. We look forward to hopefully an in-person General Assembly session this year. We're anxious to get VGEA members back down to the State House to shake hands, make relationships, and advocate during our lobby day sometime in February of this year. So I'll leave it at that. Again, thank you very much for your support of the Virginia Governmental Employees Association. It is a privilege for me and our entire firm to represent your interests, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Best wishes to all of our Virginia state government employees. I want to say, first of all, thank you. Terry McAuliffe, running to be the 74th governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. I was the 72nd governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and I worked with so many of you. I tried to meet all 122,000 state employees. I didn't get to meet them all, but I really made great progress. I always went down, visited the offices, and honestly, I want to thank you for the great work that you have done. As I say, I rebuilt our economy when I took office 8 years ago, if you remember. Our economy was in shambles. We'd had the Great Recession, and we had sequestration. I inherited a massive deficit when I walked into office, and we all got to work. We got rid of that deficit. I left a $500 million surplus when I left office, recruited 1,100 economic development projects from around the globe. I traveled on 35 trade missions, 5 continents, dozens of countries to bring businesses back, and I was very proud. We created 200,000 new high-paying jobs in Virginia. Personal income went up 14%. I was very proud that we reduced unemployment in every city and county in Virginia. And in fact, in rural parts of our state, every rural county saw their unemployment drop by nearly 50%. So with all of that, people said, Terry, would you come back again? We got COVID, we got to go big, think big, act big to get us out of this COVID crisis. So I decided to come back to help us deal with this next crisis. I'm excited. I have 20 very serious policy proposals up on my website, Terry for Virginia. I need you to look at it. It's got 166 pages. I lead off with education. We have to raise teacher pay here. If you take average teacher pay and compare it to the average pay of our residents, we rank 50th out of 50 states. We should never be 50th in any category. I promise you as governor, we will pay our teachers above the national average for the first time in Virginia history. I'll get 41,000 at-risk 3- and 4-year-olds pre-K, and I promise every one of you that I am going to make sure that every person in Virginia has access to quality, affordable broadband. On healthcare, I want to see us get our 700,000 Virginians not covered coverage. I'll work with the federal government. I'll get a Section 1332 waiver to reduce our premiums, start our own marketplace here in Virginia. So I'm excited. We've got big, bold challenges facing us. I did this before, but I need your help. I need you to get out. Voting has started already. But most importantly, thank you for what you do for the Commonwealth of Virginia. Very serious plans, lifting up Virginia, taking it to the next level. You know, I got as much energy today as the day I was born. I am ready to go. And as you know, when I was governor, I put pay raises in every one of my budgets. $1 million scholarship for our state employees to try and get young people who want to come in. I was always there for my state employees. I just want to say thank you for all the great work you've done. We all take credit for this, all this success. None of this would happen were it not for our great state employees every single day making us the best state in the country. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
I hope you have enjoyed the great presentations and all the information that Patricia Bishop with VRS and Emily Elliott with DHRM has provided for us, as well as Dylan Bishop. It is always great to hear about what's going on with the legislators. I recently met with a couple of the senators and delegates as they're having their receptions there and preparing for the upcoming year, and spoke with he goes by Chap Peterson from Northern Virginia, and it was just a pleasant presentation, and he was just delighted to share that he hoped we were excited as an association with the raise, and I told him I think all state workers were excited with the raise, and he sort of hinted to, well, there's more that they want to do for us. So that was very encouraging and uplifting, and I share that with you. So just know that VGA has made tremendous inroads with our legislators, and we've always maintained great relationships with state leadership, each administration. So we can be proud of that. And when you think about your membership does a lot. It goes a long way, and it helps us to be effective. In closing, I just want to thank you all. I want to tell you to, when you see us again. We will be talking to you or hear from us again. You will be getting the information about nominations and also voting. And we will allow, according to the bylaws, we're a little behind on this, but we will allow the time delineated in the bylaws for that process. And then we will be presenting to you the new officers as well as the new board members. Thank you so much for all that you do in your work and how well you represent the Commonwealth of Virginia. And thank you for being members of VGEA. Goodbye.